able to fight with Ray and Razgatlioglu in 2021. 187 points up on teammate Michael Ruben Rinaldi behind and set for his final.
Two races today. He'll obviously want to get himself back onto the podium, give himself some more.
Like 3 Yamahas in the top 5 positions on the grid. And
so he might be able to make up some of those points gaps.
yes, and of course, hasn't been out of the top 6 in any of the last 5 races. A run started with his brilliant wet weather victory in Portimao. He's 23 points ahead of Alex Lowe. The focus shot between Toprak Razgatlioglu and Jonathan Ray there in the top 2 positions.
Yeah, and you can see for Toprak just
to ensure that the conditions are stable at very as well have been emphasising since the very beginning of this weekend, the pressure's not on us.
Well, let's put a bit of focus and concentration on Jonathan Ray. He's out Reading on the front row with the Ducati. They're both out there on the 0 tyre. So Jonathan Ray does have a softer tyre, and we'll see how that reacts.
To try and lead it from the front, to try and control this race, and then later on might have to think about defending position perhaps.
Toprak with a big moment on the run into turn 1. A big warning there for Toprak, and we'll see how everyone is on the sighting lap. But for Jonathan Ray, we know he's a fast start. He'll also know.
Set to be settled at a brand new venue, the Mandalika International Circuit. After the postponement, only has 2 scoring opportunities to make up a mammoth 30-point margin. We go down, comes through on Toprak Razgatlioglu. Andrea Locatelli comes through on the 3rd. It's Ray who leads early on. Gerloff loses out in the initial skirmish. Tom Sykes fully up to 4th. Gerloff a little tentative. Bassani comes through as well. Bautista also makes as Rinaldi comes through on him. Further progress now being made by Michael Ruben Rinaldi. 14th on the grid to 7th position just in the early stages. Toprak finding his situation for the number 1. He's got a buffer in Scott Redding between himself and Radreau, and Tom Sykes right on the pace and right on the case of this top 3.
Yeah, Sykes with that starting the run down in towards turn 1, lose a lot of ground. Toprak got off the line a little bit.
Talking about the championship given these conditions as Tom Sykes sides through off turns 13 and 14 up towards the longest braking area, 0.3 kilometre track, and in towards turn 16. Reading behind him has been well and truly dropped by Toprak Razgatlioglu. Needs second place in order to seal this title, but he's not at the start of lap 2. Thinks about a move on Jonathan Ray, whatever. Of a second between them though at the end of lap number 1.
Yeah, top towards turn 1. He looks comfortable at this stage.
As ever in towards turn 10. Ray closing back down Reading, but it's not good news for him at the moment.
Because he breaks that little bit earlier than the other riders, he's able to open the gas a little bit earlier, so he exits the corner. He's really finding his confidence in this stage, and we know that Scott Redding in these changeable conditions.
Wide! Very wide for Toprak Razgatlioglu. He's your new race leader. Bassani fancies an opportunity to get perils of a drying circuit. It's not fully dry just 8, but that's 2 big scares now for Toprak Razgatlioglu. He wants to bring it home now for this title.
Yeah, the one thing for to win the race, but Ray will have seen that mistake for Toprak. That would have given him Scott Redding. You can see it, just that bobble there for Toprak as he came even on that trail break all the way into the curve. Has a quick look over his shoulder to see where Bassani is, but that's certainly been our commentary box here, and certainly that would have given them a few increases.
Razgatlioglu looks to be struggling at this stage of the race. Lap 13, Bassani hassling Jonathan Ray, who sits in 2nd position. Scott Redding is your race leader with Toprak Razgatlioglu behind him, so Ray is going to push as hard as he can.
He's pulled back a few tenths of a second, and it was in this last sector he lost a bit of ground, but Jonathan Ray on this lap, he's bridged that half-second gap. He's right there. Put a bit of pressure on Toprak.
The wily old campaigner, the master, encouraging him on. Vamos, they say, as he heads into lap 413. Just over a 10th of a second now, the gap to Scott Redding. Behind, he's 1.6 back from Ray, and I think he might just be about to join the Scott.
Toprak on his first clear lap after that mistake. He's pushing on as well.
Yes, at the moment, it's all about Ducatis. Scott Redding, can he stay in front of Jonathan? Title fight alive. Less than a bike length in it as they come off turns 8 and 9. Lines at one of the pinch points of this circuit, at one of the action hotspots, little doubt about. One has got the better drive off turn 10, but second best for the moment on lap 14.
Yeah, we know that Jonathan down in towards turn 15. We'll see if he's able to get close and move down into there. The gap between Ray and Razgatlioglu stretched out to 1.2 seconds.
Well, I would say stretched out. I would say it's more close coming in from Toprak Razgatlioglu, and a new fastest sector of anyone through sector 3. So Toprak is going to be a situation where Toprak will be the man who is the most of the menace. Ray Razgatlioglu, you can do it, say Ducati to Scott Redding, and he certainly can at the moment.
To get through on Scott Redding, we saw him get really close in the run down in towards turn 10 last time around. He'll also see if Toprak's able to pull back another few tenths. Last time around, you can see there, pulled back a quarter of a second.
The pace, as you say, of the riders in front of him. He's left Axel Bassani behind him, so he's shaking rider, still having a great race if he manages to come home in squabble, and he's at 1.2 seconds down on Toprak Razgatlioglu, and his pace is being matched by the likes of Van der Mark and Locatelli behind. So the top spot might have been 4 tenths at one stage earlier in the lap. It's now back into juice between them again. Will Jonathan Ray be able to capitalise onto the inside line? No, Redding looks to have defended that position well enough. Ray then will through here, so it's all going to be about the 507 metre run. 15 of 20 Ray. Jonathan Ray, knowing he needs Razgatlioglu at the moment, is doing enough for third, but Ray is not close enough.
One for a crash for Chris Ponson out of this race. He joins Tito Rabat on the side. And Ray, he knows with 5 laps to go, he is going to get an opportunity. A bit of a slide there for he will get close enough. But into turn 10, he hasn't been in position to get down the inside into turn 10 or turn 15.
Every time from disaster, it's disaster for Ray as things stand. He must get past Scott Redding here to keep the title fight. Getting the slightest bit offline into turn 10. Ray has preferred the tighter line all race and does well to stay on the circuit. It's going to give a second wind here to Toprak Razzle.
Yeah, the gap between Redding and Razgatlioglu down to half a second now after Scott tried to make...
Yes, I couldn't quite work out whether it was a piece of carbon fibre off, but either way, Jonathan Ray is your new race leader. Redding picked back up the pace quickly enough. Toprak has seen blood in the water here from Razgatlioglu. Has he got the better tyre wear late on? Has he got enough?
There with that little bit of a slip again on the run through 3 and 4, so clearly that. See if Toprak's close enough to make an attack into turn 10. We saw last time around, obviously, Jonathan Ray, but we'll see if Toprak's able to try and get close enough now.
They're the top 3 in the championship standings, and in this race, as in the series, Razgatlioglu in 3rd and Bassani best of the rest in 4th position. But look how close this lap, let alone by the end of this race. Toprak might even be able to go after Jonathan Ray in hand for the moment.
Yeah, and for Redding, he's going to come under attack into turn 15 back at this stage, so into turn 1 for Toprak.
0.8 of a second between Ray. It open for Razgatlioglu. He will still have the inside though on the switchback for turn 7.
Loves Toprak. He's got a chance of winning the championship just by sitting in 2nd. He wants to win the race.
Razgatlioglu is going after the race leader. Scott Redding's informed half a second. Off the gap to Ray. It's only 6/10 ahead of this final lap. He's going on.
Curb there as well on the exit, so he is pushing on. He wants to win this race. We saw, like you said, Alex, 6/10 over Scott Redding. So at some point in this lap, he might view it that it's a bridge too far to be able to close up on.
Second now behind the race leader. So Jonathan Ray looks set to take it's going to be a first victory since race 2 of the Portuguese round. Only his 2nd race, but the championship will be decided. Toprak Razgatlioglu making to be confirmed world champion, and that is exactly where he sits. It's been far from a percentages game though from Razgatlioglu at the head of the field. Ray looking good to take the race victory. 3 races remain, 3 corners rain has come to an end. A new era has begun in World Wsbk. The 2020 place was exactly what he needed. 2nd place is what he secures. Jonathan Ray is from him, forceful when he needed to be, hit the front when he could, past Scott Redding in what is a champion.
A great season because it's been a fantastic battle between 2 great riders, and you do need great riders for getting it out to the nail on the racetrack. They've both got so much respect for one another, but ultimately
gold foil all prepared. They were expecting this, and quite rightly so. Razgatlioglu.
A new fairing for Toprak, and he'll make his way back to Parc Ferme, and 600 crown here in the World Wsbk paddock. And for Toprak, it's been a journey to get to this. We've seen him really come into his own.
Big journey for Toprak, even bigger journey if anything.
It took them a while to manage to get that programme fully back on track. We saw them with Sylvain and Toprak as well now with Andrea Locatelli. All of those riders played a key role in developing that package. A lot of other engineers that have played a key role with it, and obviously enough the braking power of the Yamahas.
Put that right, that wouldn't have been fitting. I said in keeping with the rest of the championship, which is certainly
the golden boy in World Wsbk this year.
So many iconic moments this season. I almost don't want to pick them out. Most talked about moments of this season, been plenty others to remember as well.
Yeah, it's just been the battle between himself and Ray. He's just been willing